Hello, this is Jordan from Drawing the Facts, and this is a pumpkin. You're probably asking, Jordan, why are you holding a pumpkin, you goof? Well, it's because I wanted to showcase this pumpkin as a symbol of fall and harvest. This pumpkin also represents something like the jack-o'-lanterns on Halloween. Like how this pumpkin right here was supposed to be a jack-o'-lantern for Halloween, but couldn't, due to the lack of time, the lack of money, and the lack of resources. Fun fact, I hate pumpkins. What I do love is in November's greatest holiday ever, Thanksgiving. Ah yes, the family, food, football, anything else that starts with an F. And speaking of food, today we're going to talk about the main attraction from the dinner table, the turkey. But before we begin talking a bit more about these glorious gobbling galliforms, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you want to see more content, please hit that subscribe button. And if you like our stuff, like, comment, and share. In today's video, instead of fusing two topics into one drawing, I wanted to draw something based on a very special Thanksgiving episode from the hit Fox show, Bob's Burgers. So, let's dig right in. Grab your stuffing and grab your gravy. This is Drawing the Facts. My neighbor, Turkaro. Nice. Let's start things off by giving some quick facts about our featherly friend, the turkey. Did you know that Ben Franklin wrote a letter to his daughter proposing that the turkey should be the official United States bird, as opposed to our current national bird, the bald eagle? He actually stated, "For the truth, the turkey is in the comparison a much more respectable bird, and withal a true original native of America." Wild turkeys are actually native to northern Mexico and eastern United States, including Minnesota, North Carolina, Arkansas, Missouri, and Virginia. The heaviest turkey has weighted up to 86 pounds, which is almost the size of a large dog. A male turkey is called a tom, and a female turkey is called a hen. Tom turkeys also have beards, which is pretty much a black hair-like feathers on their chest, and they're the only ones that gobble. Hens, on the other hand, make clicking noises. Domesticated turkeys cannot fly. However, wild turkeys can, but only for short distances up to speeds of 55 miles per hour, and can run 20 miles per hour. A baby turkey is called a poult. Also, a group of wild turkeys are called a flock, while a gang of turkeys are called, well, a gang, or a rafter. If you ever wonder what that red fleshy strand hanging over a turkey's beak is, well, that is called a snood. And a bright red appendage on a turkey's neck is called the wattle. Did you know that in 1930, American wild turkeys were almost extinct due to the loss of their natural habitats and being overly hunted? Thankfully, wildlife conservations were able to rescue over 7 million turkeys in North and Central America. Famous astronauts Neil Armstrong
and Edwin Aldrin were the first to eat roasted turkey on the moon. Well, of course, through foil food packet. A ballroom dance known as the Turkey Trot was named after the short, jerky steps that turkeys take. Did you know that giblets are the heart, liver, and gizzards of a poultry carcass? Turkeys are also relatives to the pheasants. Native Americans were one of the first to hunt down turkeys for their meat, ever since 1000 AD. While in America, turkey is well known for Thanksgiving, in the UK, Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without a roasted turkey. Which of course started with Henry VIII, who was the first English king to enjoy turkey. Then Edward VII, who made turkey an eating fashionable during Christmas. And if you want to give the turkey community your support, on June, there's a National Turkey Lovers Month. Oh, there's some facts about turkeys. I could have started this video off by giving some facts and history about Thanksgiving itself, but I didn't want to make this video too long. So, in my drawing, if you are a big Bob's Burgers fan or you're very familiar with some of the episodes, you may know what this drawing is based on. That's right, this is from the episode An Indecent Thanksgiving Proposal, which is from Season 3, Episode 5. I'll later on give some more facts about this episode itself. But first, let me give you some facts about the show Bob's Burgers. To start things off, let's talk about the man behind Bob's Burgers. He's an American animator, voice actor, screenwriter, producer, director, and even composer, Loren Hal Butchert. Butchert was born in New York City, but grew up in Medford, Massachusetts. Starting off as a high school dropout, Butchert worked as a bartender in 1993, until he bumped into his former grade school teacher, named Tom Snyder. Tom asked him if he was still drawing and offered Butchert a chance to work on a few animated shorts created by Snyder. One of Butchert's first series was Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist. He credits Jonathan Katz, Tom Snyder, and Bob himself, H. Jon Benjamin, as major influences. The series ran for 6 seasons from 1995 to 2000. He also produced Science Court, another animated show made by Soup to Nuts. After Dr. Katz, Butchert worked with Brendan Small to create the cult classic Home Movies, which is picked up by UPN. However though, the other 3 seasons were then picked up by Adult Swim. It concluded with its 4th season on 2004. After the end of Home Movies, Butchert worked on a pilot called Saddle Rash, as well as developing the devilish series, Lucy the Daughter of the Devil. Now, of course, Lucy became victorious over Saddle Rash. The pilot was created on October 30th, 2005, but it wasn't until September 2007 it debuted weekly on Adult Swim. He was also the consultant producer of HBO's The Ricky Gervais Show. Later on in 2009, Butchert teamed up with King of the Hills writer and producer Jim Dauterive to develop the next projects, which will be titled Bob's Burgers, which of course is the animated series of a wacky family working in a hamburger restaurant. Butchert, of course, growing up in a blue-collar yet creative family, wanted to pursue this project, since it's not really represented on TV. Fox put Bob's Burgers on the primetime slate for the 2010 to 2011 television season. A special preview was aired on Thanksgiving on November 25th, 2010. And the whole reaction was mixed. In fact, Metacritic score gave it 54 out of 100. However, like most hidden gems, after the end of Season 1 and the beginning of Season 2, critics began to warm up to the series, and actually began to give it high praise. The show has been seen as a spiritual successor of King of the Hill, which carried less of the emphasis of shock comedy and focused more on character-driven humor, unlike shows like Family Guy and The Simpsons. Currently, Butcher lives in Los Angeles with his wife, Holly Kretschmar. They were married since September 3rd, 2006. His acting credits include playing Josie Small from Home Movies, Rondo from Mr. Bean, a classmate from Lucy, the Daughter of the Devil, and Teddy from My Gym Partner's a Monkey. The one character that Butcher can actually relate to is Bob himself. Seen through Bob's eyes, and having 2 kids of his own, he can relate to the creative aspect of Bob, how he wants to express himself, even though it's through burgers. Another inspiration behind Bob's Burgers is when Butcher went to a place called Jimmy's Pizza in West Medford, which was like an old-fashioned blue-collar town. Here he would see kids working behind the counter. This, of course, resonated with him and gave him an idea to create a show of a family that runs a restaurant, which felt organic to him. Did you know that Bob's Burgers was actually going to go down a really dark and bloody path? The early pitch for Bob's Burgers was actually going to be a more Hannibal-esque kind of show. Also, in the early pitch, as well as their early pilots that you can check out on YouTube, Tina didn't even exist. Originally, the Belcher's family was going to have 2 boys and 1 girl, being Louise. Gina, of course, was going to still be in the show, but instead of Tina, it was going to be an older son named Daniel. Yeah, crazy it sounds, but Lauren Butcher was actually originally going to have the show be about a family that runs a restaurant who are cannibals. He stated that Fox said, "Well, do you need cannibalism?" They felt that he really had to put it in there because that's what they would have wanted. And of course, being known for his early work, Lucy, the Daughter of the Devil. It wasn't until Kevin Riley, the chairman from Fox Entertainment, came in and stated, "We love it, but we want to differentiate between the kids a little more." First, they axed out the character of Daniel, who is voiced by comedian Dan Mitz. But because Butcher really loved his performance, they instead changed Daniel into a girl named Tina. And the second step was to take away the Sweeney Todd-ish cannibalism in the story. But in the first episode, Louise does spread rumors that the family burgers were, in fact, made of human flesh. Way to go, Louise. Way to go. In most animated shows, voice actors will come in and record individually, mostly due to conveniences of scheduling and being able to mix different takes together. However, Butcher insists that the cast will meet together as a group to record their lines. And while scheduling can become complicated, especially when half the crew is in New York and the other half's in Los Angeles, Butcher pushed this ideal in order to have a realistic back and forth between the characters, which of course is what the show is well known for. As Lauren would say it, it's a little like herding wild animals, but in a good way. Out of all the main cast, John Roberts, who's the voice of Linda Belcher, is the only actor to change his voice. The reason why is because Linda's voice is an imitation of his own mother, based on his YouTube sketches, such as My Son is Gay and The Christmas Tree, which went viral. These hints caught the attention of Butcher, and in the end, asked for Roberts to lend his motherly voice to Linda. Taking some cues from The Simpsons' couch gags, in each and every opening credits of Bob's Burgers, there are a different variety of names on the vehicles that pass through the family, as well as the business buildings close to the restaurant. Another gag that they use, which is very popular, is the burger of the day, which is written on a chalkboard near the restaurant's register. My personal favorite is the itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot zucchini burger. What's your favorite burger of the day? Write it down in the comments. If you want to cook just like Bob himself, you can actually purchase a real book called Bob's Burgers Cookbook. Real recipes for joke burgers, which also includes all the burgers of the day. Kind of going back to the creator Lauren, did you know that Lauren, his wife, and his children are all vegetarian? If that is an irony, I don't know what is. Bob's voice actor, H. Jon Benjamin, is also the voice of the greatest yet douchiest spy in the world, Sterling Archer. Did you know though, in season 4 premiere, Archer was in a state of mind where he actually believed that he was Bob, the owner of Bob's Burgers? It wasn't until he was attacked by the KGB that Archer starts to awaken, in which he ends up leaving the family. This may have been a short crossover, but it was something to really relish in. Now that I give you a few facts on the show, let's talk a little bit more about the episode this drawing is based on. An Indecent Thanksgiving Proposal. In this episode, Mr. Fischoeder, a crazy yet rich landlord of the Belcher family, bribes Bob into letting him borrow his family in order to oppress an old flame of his. But this of course ruins the situation of Bob's Thanksgiving traditions. In this episode, there's actually a lot of references to the film The Picture of Dorian Gray, which was released in 1945. In this film, Dorian Gray, the title character, never ages, but his portrait instead ages and decays to reflect his wickedness and corrupt life. In the end of the episode, Louise proclaims while painting at the family portrait, "Now this portrait will grow old for me, and I'll stay 9 forever." Also early in the episode, Bob claims that Thanksgiving is the family's favorite holiday. The family rattles off a list of other days that are more important than Thanksgiving. But among those, Louise says Angela Lansbury's birthday. Angela Lansbury, of course, starred in the film The Picture of Dorian Gray, and was born on October 16, 1925. But by coincidence, on October 16, 1854, was also the birthday of Oscar Wilde, the author of The Picture of Dorian Gray. The burger of the day of this episode is Plymouth Roquefort Burger. And in the credits, the store next door is called Colonial Bologna. And the side reads, "Get your Thanksgiving bologna now." Also, the exterminator van that passes through in the opening credits says, "The last of the Mousehekins." But, of course, you can see in this drawing, there's a short yet very beautiful scene where while Bob is cooking turkey, he drinks a bottle of absinthe. And during this part, he begins to hallucinate, where his turkey, which by name is named Lance, ends up growing very big, almost the size of a very particular creature. He uses an umbrella to grow a tree, and the entire Belcher family jump on it as it flies away into the sky, and of course sits on a tree. This entire clip is a reference to a classic Japanese anime film by Studio Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki's My Neighbor Totoro. And don't you worry, we're going to talk about that in a bit. Alright, so far so good. As you can see, I kind of want to add a bit more to this drawing. We have the Belcher kids, Louise, Tina, and Jean, all dressed up as some of the characters from the Ghibli movies. More specifically, you have Tina and Jean dressed up as Sasuke and Mei from My Neighbor Totoro. It was hard to know what I wanted Louise to dress up as, and then I decided to have her dress up as Chihiro from Spirited Away. Speaking of Ghibli, it's time we give out some facts about Ghibli, Miyazaki, and the big guy himself. Let's start things off by talking about the man who is behind the creation of Studio Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki, or Miyazaki Hayao. Miyazaki was born on January 5th, 1941, in Tokyo, Japan. His father was the director of the Miyazaki Airplanes, a manufacturing concern of building parts for Zero fighter planes. And if you ever notice of all of Miyazaki's films, he has a deep love for flights. And you can say all this is rooted from his family business. In 1963, he took a position as an entry-level animator at Toei Animation. There, he met fellow animators Takahata Asao and Ota Akemi. Miyazaki was able to rise in Toei, able to work on television series including Wolf Boy Ken and Takahata's feature film Little Norse Prince, which came out in 1968. After leaving the company in 1971, Miyazaki and Takahata continued to work on various studios throughout the 1970s. Some of their projects included Panda Go Panda, and Miyazaki's first full-length film was 1979's Lupin III, Castle of Cagliostro, which became a really huge hit, and a huge recommendation to all Lupin fans. After this, Miyazaki went on to turn one of his mangas, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, into a feature film. After the film's release in 1984, Miyazaki and Takahata became permanent partners. In 1985, they created their first studio, Studio Ghibli. And while some people believe that Nausicaa was the first Studio Ghibli film, that title actually went to Castle in the Sky. In 1988, My Neighbor Totoro was released, and don't worry, we're going to get to that in a bit, alongside Takahata's Grave of the Fireflies. And trust me, if you like to cry, this is a movie for you. In 1989, they released Kiki's Delivery Service. In 1992, they released Porco Rosso. It was actually one of my personal favorites. However, one of their biggest successes in the 90s was the film Princess Mononoke in 1997, which grossed a lot in Japanese box office. Did you know that when in the United States they were going to actually make an English dub for Princess Mononoke, they were actually going to edit some things out to make it more appealing for younger audiences? However though, after The Warriors of the Wind flopped, which was a really crappy English dub of Nausicaa Valley of the Wind, Miyazaki made it clear that everything should stay intact. Every scene, every emotion, and dialogue should remain the same, but just for the English audiences. And he made it very clear to Miramax by sending them a little gift. In 2002, Studio Ghibli released Spirited Away, and has become one of the first animes to win an Academy Award, as well as being one of the latest 2D animated films to win. Other films he worked on post Spirited Away was Howl's Moving Castle in 2004, Ponyo, released in 2008, The Secret World of Arrietty, released in 2010, based on Mary Dorn's children's books, The Borrowers, and helped co-write one of his son's films, From Up on Poppy Hill. One of the most recent films that he's released was The Wind Rises in 2013, which took place in World War II, focusing on an engineer in Horikoshi Jiro. The Oscars weren't done yet with Miyazaki, as he was honored by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in 2015. Did you know that Miyazaki actually liked to be surprised of how the story is going to end all throughout the storyboarding process? The storyteller behind the stories does not know how the story is going to conclude. Huh. And speaking of storyboarding, Miyazaki's films are always storyboarded, but they never use scripts. As he stated, scripts take too much time, and he would prefer to come up with the dialogue for the films as he goes along. In Studio Ghibli films, everything is heavily hand-drawn. Even in the year of the 2000s, where CGI became a really huge thing, Miyazaki made sure that everything was hand-drawn. Even the waves you see in Ponyo is hand-drawn. Did you know that Spirited Away has become one of the highest grossing films in Japanese cinema history? However, though, that was kind of short-lived, as in 2016, Your Name took the spot. To add another thing about the Oscars, in 2003, Miyazaki refused to attend the Oscar ceremony as a protest to Americans' invasion of Iraq. By 2016, Miyazaki released one of his latest short films, called Boro the Caterpillar, and is actually one of Miyazaki's first CGI films to be made. Although it's not displayed for the public, you can find it in the Studio Ghibli Museum. Warning, there are no flash photographies or videos. Did you know Ghibli in Arabic means Mediterranean wind, or hot Sahara wind? It was meant that the studio was to blow new wind through the anime industry. Ghibli was also heavily inspired by the Italian scouting plane used during World War II, which was nicknamed Ghibli. The continuation of English dubs, as well as the exposure for American audiences, is thanks to John Lasseter, who had a long-term friendship with Miyazaki, respecting his craft. Now, finally, let's talk about one of his films, his one creation that actually helped the studio a lot during the 80s, and that is My Neighbor Totoro. The ideal of the film is mostly like an autobiography of Hayao Miyazaki's early life. Him and his brothers were children. His mother suffered from a spinal tuberculosis for 9 years and spent most of her time hospitalized. Although the condition of Sasuke Mei's mother's illness is not really established, it could be related to Hayao's mother. He even said that it would be way too painful for him to make the two of the protagonists boys instead of girls. And speaking of the two leading girls themselves, Sasuke and Mei's names are play on words for the month of May. Sasuke, in an old Japanese word, actually means May, the month of May. And Mei, M-E-I, is the Japanese pronunciation of the English word May, M-A-Y. The name Totoro was actually meant to be a mispronunciation for the word troll. When Sasuke first finds Mei sleeping in the grove behind the house, Mei tells his sister she saw Totoro. Sasuke corrects her by saying, "Totoro, do you mean troll from your storybook?" In which Mei nods in agreement. In the first English dub in 1993, made by Fox, Totoro was actually kept in. This was also kept in the 2006 English dub from Disney. The studio was originally worried of releasing the film as a standalone, so they decided to make it into a double feature. as My Neighbor Totoro was released alongside with Grave of the Fireflies. However, though, after release, the movie did not do so well at the box office, and didn't even break even. However, though, in a couple years, Studio Ghibli was able to make a lot of money, and this was all thanks to Totoro. Most of his plush dolls sold like hotcakes. In fact, Totoro became insanely popular. So much so, Totoro, or King Totoro as they say, has become the mascot for Studio Ghibli. Although Totoro did not make a lot in the box office, he did win some awards, including Best Film, at both the Mainichi Film Award and the Kanema Junpo, as well as the Blue Ribbon Special Award. It's been speculated that the name Totoro has also come from the city Tokorozawa in Japan. As Miyazaki grew up around there, he has memories as a child mispronouncing Tokorozawa as Totoro. Even outside of Japan, the film got a shout out from Roger Ebert and was put on this great movies list, calling it one of the most beloved of all family films. Did you know that Totoro is actually split up into species? Yep, there's actually 3 Totoros. The big gray one, which we all know, is called Old Totoro. Literally Big Totoro, but the English version is King Totoro. The middle-sized blue one is Chu Totoro, or Medium Totoro. And the tiny white one is Chibi Totoro, or Little Totoro. Originally, Mei and Sasuke were actually going to be one character. In fact, if you actually see some of the posters, there's only one girl sitting next to Totoro. However, though, Miyazaki decided to split up the two to add more suspense in the end. In the English version, Dakota Fanning was born in 1994, 6 years after the film's original release, but joined the voice cast in 2005, which was re-released, at which point she was 11 years old, the same age as the character Sasuke. And to add to that, Mei is played by Ellie Fanning, who is her younger sister. Did you know that the characters from Totoro has made 2 cameo appearances? The suits from Totoro can be seen in Spirited Away. And if you've seen Toy Story 3, you'll know that one of the toys is none other than Totoro. Totoro has also made an influence in South Park, Powerpuff Girls, and, well, as you see, Bob's Burgers. And for the final fact of the day, did you know that there's actually a dark fan theory behind Totoro? Some fans believe that Mei is actually dead in the movie, and Totoro is the god of death. Some of the clues includes the sando which is found in a pond, which was presumed that Mei had drowned, in the absence of shadows in the scene toward the end of the film, where the 2 sisters are together on the tree, watching their parents. Some people also connect this to the Sayama incident, an urban legend involving the deaths of 2 sisters from Sayama Hills. However, though, all of this has been completely debunked by Studio Ghibli. Some of the animators and crew behind the production even states that the lack of shadows in that scene was only because they felt like it wasn't really necessary. Mei didn't drown, and none of the sisters die. I mean, God, that's a dark theory. What's wrong with you people? Yeesh. During the time of the 80s in Japan, it was very common for a very popular film to either have a hero, action, and a female character serving as, well, the love interest. Miyazaki, however, wanted to change things. As he states, entertainment back then was all about guns, action, and speed. I wanted my movie to be peaceful, tranquil, and innocent. I wanted to create that kind of world. Also, I wanted to prove that a movie like this could be successful.
Here it is, folks. Bob and the Belcher team flying around in their giant turkey. An art that is appetizing, with just a dash of Ghibli magic. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you very soon. Happy holidays. Gobble gobble.
Hey everyone, this is Jordan from Madtown Studios. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be putting up new content each month. Down below in the comments, if you have any questions for me or if you have any recommendations of what I should draw, please let me know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more updates from Madtown Studios, tap that subscribe button down below. Well, see you next time. Peace.